When you think of ancient Rome, what comes to mind? Probably legions, emperors, maybe the Colosseum? But what if I told you their most incredible legacy is actually the ground we walk on? For centuries, there's been this one mystery that's just stumped engineers. I mean, seriously, how did they do it? How did they build things that have survived earthquakes, crashing waves, and 2,000 years of wear and tear, when our modern stuff, well, it often needs fixing after just a few decades? The answer, it turns out, is this incredible feat of engineering that we're only just now starting to crack. Okay, so the secret here isn't just one magic ingredient, right? It wasn't a silver bullet, it was a whole system. And the best place to start digging for clues is, well, it's the massive network of infrastructure that basically held their entire empire together. And just think about what these structures have been through. We're talking about everything from the freezing damp weather in Britain all the way to earthquake zones in Italy. And then you've got the super corrosive salt water in their ports. The fact that this stuff is still standing is just mind-blowing. And it's not a fluke. This was pure genius design. So let's zoom out and start with the big picture. And what's bigger than the legendary Roman roads? I mean, these weren't just some dirt paths. These were massive government-funded projects. They were built to move armies, to show off Roman power, and yeah, they were built to last forever. And get this, at its peak, the Roman Empire had built 250,000 miles of roads. 250,000. About 50,000 of those miles were the really high-quality stone-paved highways. This network was literally the backbone of their civilization. It's how they moved troops, trade goods, you name it, faster and more reliably than anyone had ever done before. And this is how they did it. A Roman road wasn't just pavement on top of dirt. No way. It was this deep, really complex layered system. They'd start way down with a foundation of huge stones to spread out the weight. Then came a core made of rubble and mortar. On top of that, a leveling layer of sand and gravel. And then finally, that famous top surface of perfectly fitted paving stones. Every single layer had a purpose, all working together to create something that could handle heavy traffic for hundreds of years. But here's the really clever part. It wasn't just about the layers. It was about water. See, Roman engineers understood something crucial. Water is the #1 enemy of any road. They got that. So they built their roads with a slight crown, a little hump in the middle, so rain would just run right off into ditches on the side. This obsession with drainage, with keeping the foundation bone dry, is a huge reason those roads are still around. And there's one more piece to this big picture puzzle: bureaucracy. Seriously, Roman roads were public works protected by law. They had these dedicated officials, basically road managers, who handled everything from the initial planning and building all the way to long-term maintenance. That kind of oversight meant they got consistent, high-quality results across the whole empire. It was this perfect blend of amazing engineering, the right materials, and solid government management. Okay, so the roads are incredible, but that's just scratching the surface. The real secret, the true Roman genius, is way, way smaller. We're talking microscopic. It's a chemical secret hidden inside the concrete itself, a secret we're only just now rediscovering. And just look at this comparison. It really puts things into perspective. The stuff we use today, Portland cement, is a huge source of pollution, about 8% of global CO2 emissions. Plus, it breaks down over a few decades. But Roman concrete? It had a smaller carbon footprint. It actually gets stronger over time, and this is the amazing part, it can heal itself. It literally fixes its own cracks. So for decades, scientists studying this ancient concrete kept noticing something weird. There were these little, white, chalky bits mixed in everywhere. They called them lime clasts. And for the longest time, everyone just assumed it was a mistake. They figured the Romans were just bad mixers, that these were clumps of stuff they didn't stir in properly. Everybody thought it was a flaw. But what if it wasn't a mistake? What if those little white chunks weren't a bug, but a feature? What if they were the secret ingredient, the key to the whole thing? Well, some incredible new research has finally cracked the code. And it all boils down to how they made it. It's a process that completely changes the chemistry, and it's called hot mixing. So what exactly is hot mixing? Okay, so normally to make mortar, you take something called quicklime, add water to make a paste, and then you mix in your sand and stuff. The Romans, they just skipped that first step. They threw the quicklime, which is super reactive, directly into the dry mix. So when they finally added water, boom. The chemical reaction was so powerful it created intense heat. We're talking temperatures over 200 degrees Celsius. They were literally cooking their concrete from the inside out. And that intense heat is the secret sauce. It created all these unique chemical bonds you just don't get at normal temperatures. And here's the key. It meant some of the lime didn't fully dissolve. Instead, it left behind, you guessed it, those brittle, super reactive lime clasts. So they weren't a mistake at all. They were put there on purpose, an absolutely brilliant part of the design. So check this out. This is how the self-healing actually works. A tiny crack forms in the concrete, maybe from an earthquake or just age. Water gets in, and that water finds one of those little lime clasts. The clast dissolves almost instantly, creating this calcium-rich liquid. That liquid then flows right into the crack, where it rehardens and seals the gap shut. It's amazing. It's like the concrete has its own immune system rushing to heal a cut just like our bodies do. And this isn't just a cool theory, by the way. Scientists actually proved it. They made a batch of concrete using this ancient hot mix recipe. Then they deliberately cracked it and let water flow through. And what happened? Within a couple of weeks, cracks 0.5 millimeter wide, which is a big deal for modern concrete, were completely healed, sealed shut. The water couldn't get through anymore. It worked. The ancient Roman recipe worked perfectly. So the big question is, what do we do with this information now? It's pretty clear that the secret to Roman durability wasn't just this one magic ingredient. It was the whole package: incredible large-scale engineering, brilliant materials science, and a system of government that planned for the long, long term. And the lessons for us today are huge. First, we need to start building things to last for centuries, not just to get us through the next few decades. Second, we can and should be developing these smart, self-healing materials to cut down on maintenance and waste. Third, this is a path to a more sustainable chemistry, a way to make concrete without wrecking the planet. At the end of the day, it's about thinking systemically, exactly like the Romans did. So it really makes you think, doesn't it? As we're trying to figure out how to build a better, more sustainable future for ourselves, maybe the most revolutionary idea isn't something new at all. Maybe it's looking back and learning from the people who figured this all out 2,000 years ago.